Hey you guys, this is Mac G from Simp, and today I'll be talking to you about the map Ruinberg. The map Ruinberg, I love it. It's a fun map to play, 15v15 in regular battles, and I enjoy it a lot. And I'll be starting off with the north. If you're a faster, lighter tank on Ruinberg North, you have a few options. You can go try and get scouts through the Delta Village. You can do an initial scout run like this and then finish off in some bushes right here to try and get scouts down here in the field area. You can also make a run for the zero and do scouting on the zero. If you sit somewhere right here, you can use the buildings for cover and you can scout out enemy tanks that are coming up, and hopefully if you're doing that, your teammates will be behind you already to shoot at the tanks you light up. The other spot to go for as a light tank would be the E4 corner at this building right here. At this corner, you don't want to push it. Pushing from that corner, it's a very wide open space. It's the most wide open space in the western half of the map. So you just, as you're here, you're a light tank, you're pestering tanks. So if there's enemy tanks that are right here and they're looking east, they're not looking at you, you can pop out, take a shot, and then pop back into cover. You just want to be careful from this spot right here. Don't let that guy, if there's a tank right there or if there's a tank right there at the church, don't let them shoot you. Just be careful to distract them. If you can keep two tanks locked down at this corner or at the church, with just one light tank, you're doing a very good job and you're contributing a lot to your team. If you're medium tanks, you have quite a few options as well. You could go initially to Delta Village and fight out the enemy there. Use the buildings for cover, shoot and get back into cover. If you have an auto loader, get out your clip and then pull back into cover as you reload. There's a lot of good options in Delta Village for a medium tank. You could also do my favorite thing to do with the medium, and that's go straight down the 6 and into this F line area. So what you can do is if your 3 line and the 1-2 are secured by your friendlies, if this is friendly, you can sit right here at this corner and just shoot at tanks that are sitting out here in the open. It's very fun and very aggressive style of play. And then if you don't have control of these areas, if the enemy tanks get tanks up here, you can roll into these bunkers right here, either on the south side or the north side, and pop out whenever you're ready for shots. You can use the bunkers for cover and pop out when you feel safe. And if the enemy dedicates resources to trying to get you and kill you, your teammates will have excellent shots from either for the field or from right here, because the enemy has to expose themselves a lot to dig you out. Another spot to go would be the 3 line. So the way that I said earlier, you don't push the 1 line. So you also don't push this diagonal. This diagonal, if you're pushing it from the north, if you get stuck right here, you're dead. You're not. There's no cover safe from here that you can quickly get to. So you don't want to be stuck in this diagonal if you're on the north side of the map. So the way you want to approach the north, you can go here, you can go to the E1, but then you don't push the 1 line, so you come back, you go through this diagonal. The medium will be using this 3 line diagonal, and you don't continue down here. You do not. This is a no-go because there could be enemy tanks right here, there could be enemy tanks right here, and again, if you push through here, you're in the open, exposed to those tanks. So you push down here, then you turn, you break it in, you take this corner, you check your corners, and then you play it to the church, and then you can either cross over here and use the corner games here. You can use corner games down this lane, or you can use corner games down this game. However you need to play it to help lead your team to victory. And then for heavy tanks again, very similar, although slightly different options from the mediums. Again, you can go to Delta Village with the heavy tank and play using the buildings for cover. And then, oh, once you do have Delta Village control, you generally want to push for zero line control. If you can get a tank to K0, then assuming they have tanks in here, they're in a kill zone for different firing angles exposed to yourself and your teammates. So you play corner games, you take control, you take zero line control with your heavy, and then you can just push from there. You can also, if you have a strong hold down tank, like a T-32, or if you really know how to use your IS-3, you can play on the E7. This area, there's raised terrain that you can use to fire at enemy tanks in the 6, or over there if they're very exposed. And then again, you could do the 3 line like the medium. Same path. You want to go like this. You do not want to go straight down. You want to be smart in your approach. You want to be looking to what the enemy team gives you and then taking that approach. Tank destroyers. So these are very similar to light tanks. You don't want to be flanked, so a good option is always a 0. It's very hard for an enemy to flank you whenever you're near the red line. They only have 3 options to flank you with, and it's a lot easier to stop 3 than the entire 4, 360 degrees. And then also the 1 line. The 1 line is the E1 line is also a good spot for a TD. Since it's also hard to be flanked there, you can pop out for shots if tanks again are distracted, or you can keep a tank locked down right there. Either way, you are helping your team. And the third spot could be something you just, if you feel like, or if your team went really light in the Delta Village, let's pretend there's no tanks right here. If your team went really light in the Delta Village, you can also protect your base from right here, and you can have your teammates or yourself scout them out and get shots from A6 if you have a very light presence in the Delta Village and your team went mostly west into the city. So that's what you do as a tank destroyer. I didn't put anything down for artillery because artillery is honestly pretty bad on this map. I'm sorry, but you don't have many options. You're limited to here. You're limited to the A line mostly, and none of the options are particularly good. So from the south, our options are very similar to what they were in the north. If you're a light tank, you can get to the G1 position, and again pester enemy tanks that are right here or right here, that are oblivious to you. And then your other spots to go as light tanks would be, your best bet would be the Delta Village. And then just duking it out, being a nuisance, getting flank shots, using your speed to your advantage. Medium tanks on the south side, you're not going to be able to go up the 6 and then cut into the 5, and it's also very difficult to go into the 3 and into the F line, just because of the way the map is designed. The north has an advantage getting in here in the F line, so your best bets are to go duke it out in the Delta Village. South Delta Village control is much more important than North Delta Village control. So if you can control this, if you can win the fight here, you're doing fairly well for yourself, because then you can station a scout and rotate, or you can use the 0 line, the red line for cover, and then take out the A6 and A7 tanks and apply base pressure. The other spot for the medium would be somewhere like the G2 at the church, keeping this tank in check, keeping these tanks in check, and just putting out damage. So this is a medium tank, something that's more lightly armored than a heavy, and maybe not as much damage, but it's still significant damage output. So for heavy tanks from the south, your options for approach, if you have good frontal armor, you can use the 6 line. There are good positions along here where you can get make your frontal armor the strength that it is, and you can also put out damage against tanks that are up here. You could also go on the eastern side, push up along these buildings, and then rotate into the Delta Village to reinforce your teammates if that is needed. And then you also can go to G3, this area. From the south, you're not going to be able to really push as well. The lanes for pushing in 15v15 are not as good as they are from north to south. So you're really gonna have to stay and make your stand on your half of the map. So that means south of the E line. So G3 is a good spot to sit and dish out damage on enemy tanks that are approaching, and also F2 is a good spot, another good spot to dish out damage. You can either, if enemy tanks are distracted, you can dish out damage here, or if they try to rotate around behind you, you can dish out damage on the F line. But being right here in F2 requires that you have support in G1 locking down these E1 tanks. You don't want E1 to come out and nuke you because you have no allies in G1. As tank destroyers, again, you don't want to be flanked, so the 0 line, using the red line for cover, so that you can't be circled to death. You can keep pushing the 0 line, using the buildings, use them wisely, and you won't get flanked, and you'll stay fairly healthy, and you'll get out good damage. You could also use this this 3 line G3 spot, or you can make a stand. Like I said earlier, you can make a stand against these tanks trying to come in right here from the 3. And also, again, the G1 spot is an excellent spot if you're a slower tank destroyer that doesn't want to be flanked. You can push out tanks from the E1, you can scare them, and you can also get some decent shots on tanks that are in this area. So that's pretty much it for all those southern tanks. It's a very similar, but again, but also not similar. So you can't really push as aggressively in 15v15 from the south as you can from the north. And again, RD positions, there's not really many good ones. Ruinberg's just a bad map to be an artillery player on. So you just gotta pick a spot and hope you get lucky. And I mean, that's really all you can say about Ruinberg. So I hope I helped you learn a bit more about the map. I hope you learned something that you didn't know before. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a good night, good day, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. And thanks again.